The human body has these things on the end of the mitochondrial DNA called telomeres. These little tuning fork-like things create a tuning of a sound that comes in from outside of the universe. About 5 years ago, they were scanning the Great Pyramid for cavities inside the pyramid and found a pi muon radiation coming in from all directions through the pyramids. They then did an assay in Antarctica in which they did a whole sky and found that the sound comes from everywhere. Now, we're not talking about a specific frequency. We're talking about a complex group of frequencies that form harmonies. The interesting part about it is that these frequencies and harmonies happen to be similar to the Solfeggio scale. The Solfeggio scale has a center C at 432 hertz. The March of Nines, if you take a note 3 notes higher and subtract it from 9, you have 6. You do 6 notes higher, you have 3, and that progression is what the natural progression of this sound is, going out from about 7.8 hertz here on Earth all the way out to light frequencies and cosmic ray frequencies. So this sound creates an actual 3-dimensional image. If you can think of a pressure wave moving through, complex, made up of this sound, it creates patterns in our reality. And these patterns expressed as common numbers, like phi, pi, psi. Those numbers are called irrationals, and there are specific ratios between things in nature. The golden ratio being an example. That's psi, psi. So those numbers are the imprint made by this sound. Those telomeres that are on our mitochondrial DNA either harmonize or are discordant with that sound. When they harmonize with that sound, it produces a light energy. It produces photons. Now, those photons can be in very low frequency or very high frequency, but they actually emit light. So your body has this structure that is being produced by the telomeres, producing this photonic energy field around you. Now, that energy field is what causes stem cells to differentiate into your different tissues. So you can think of it as your body is not producing this sound, but this sound causes your body to coalesce around it. So you have a literal light energy body called a bioquantum field. Now, the bioquantum field actually resonates with others, and there's a larger field called a biomorphic field. The morphic field allows the 100 monkeys effect to take place, remote viewing, different psychic telepathy type things, or just intuition and hunch. Because of this understanding in the last 5 years, ultraspectral imaging has allowed us to actually photograph this light coming off from the human body. Now, this isn't auras, so to speak, and maybe people do see this light sometimes. But this is actually at the cellular level. There's light coming off from us. Now, that light has a specific harmony with this external sound when you are healthy. It is discordant when you're not healthy or you have cancer. So by blasting the same sound back at the cancer cells, it causes only the cancer cells to overheat and die. This is a literal cure for any form of cancer. And this has only been discovered in the last 5 years. There was a guy back at the turn of the century, 1900s, who was named Raymond Royal Rife. He cataloged what he could see under a microscope, blasting different viruses and bacteria. Not that he could see a virus under a microscope, but he could see colonies of bacteria under a microscope, paramecium. He blasted them with different sounds that caused them to overheat and die. So he was the actual first one to discover this in modern times. He was completely ostracized from the medical community, considered a quack and a charlatan. Nelson Rockefeller actually made sure that he was not able to practice medicine anywhere in the United States. And they even funded and formed the FDA specifically to prevent people like him from having anything other than petrochemical-based pharmaceuticals. That is the turning point in medicine. Recently, several doctors have proven this. We're now using this to recognize emotions in people. We're able to take a photograph of somebody. It's an ultraspectral image. It's not exactly a photograph. It covers all frequencies all the way across and takes the sound image of the photons coming off from me. Now, the coolest thing about this biomorphic and quantum resonance that we have is that recently we're starting to feel other people more and more. We're feeling sadness, despair, anger, all these emotions that we're feeling around us. There's a feeling in the air, so to speak. We're having an epigenetic process. When a species is put under stress, it will adapt to the stress by creating new systems for it to be able to survive. So this adaptation that's taking place is allowing us to become more aware of this field, this biomorphic resonance field. As we mature, we become more and more aware of how aspects of our intent create changes in our reality. Now, we're not talking about manifesting $1 million in your left hand. We're talking about the combined effort of mankind can bring the planet down or the planet up. It can bring us health or it can bring us disease. We have to decide. We have to recognize that change.